What's up, Pacers fans? My name is Alex.
My name is Ross.
My name is Zach.
And we're back from the All-Star break. All-Star game was last night. West coming up with the win. But for Pacers fans, it's right back to our 6-game losing streak where we last left off our Pacers. It'll be okay, guys. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But Pacers struggling here. A lot of, big, high-level articles coming about the Pacers and what's going to happen, and is Paul George really here, or is it time to think about trading him? So we got a lot to cover today. But first, let's quickly recap their last two games before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Losses.
So, the first game was whoa, both losses, right?
Yeah.
First game was while we were recording our last show. The end of result, Cavs beat the Pacers 113-104. Go figure. I don't know. Kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
Kyrie, LeBron, and Korver had big nights.
Mm-hmm.
Again, same as before.
Continuing streak of bad perimeter D.
Oh,
Korver is like I saw Robert Mathis tweeted that Korver is the Pacers equivalent of Darren Sproles, and I was like, that couldn't be more spot on, but so sad.
Guys, you don't expect to. Well, who shouldn't be able to do that to a team like that? They had 18
Seriously.
made threes as a team.
18
The Cavs
made
did.
threes, yeah.
That sounds pretty good. I wish we could do that.
Yeah. I wish we could guard it.
Well, stuff happens.
Well, anyway, that streak continued. Pacers lost to the Washington Wizards 111-98. Bench played terrible, outscored 39-14.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I called the loss on this one. I can't remember if you guys did.
No, you
I
did.
can't remember.
Yeah, you did.
You did.
Otto
I called a
Porter.
win. You
called a win. I called the loss.
Yeah.
Otto Porter
What'd I
took
call?
over, and
I think you were on the Pacers side.
I think you picked
Zach
one
just
too.
keeps.
I just
going.
keep winning.
Yeah, whatever
That's
he
all I
says
do.
is
Calm
what
down.
happens.
Win.
I'm kidding.
But I think, Ross, you did say in that recap last week you were worried about Otto Porter. And we made him look like an all-star, 25 points from him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just an ugly game all around from the Pacers.
Really discouraging effort, too, because you have Paul George. He's been harping on this new NBA theme in his press conference. We'll get to Paul in a second. But then Otto Porter looks like the all-star in this game. And Otto Porter has had a good year, but you're Paul George. You get awarded your all-star jersey before the game from your GM, and then you come out with just a lackluster performance on both ends, and then he gives the excuse of tired legs, and they are tired. I mean, it's way past the halfway point during the season, so these guys are tired and do need a break. But at the same time, you've got to defend your home court, especially knowing that you're going to have some days off ahead.
Great segue. I wrote down some comments that were spoken by Pacers players after the game. So PG said, we need a vacation. Teague said, we all just need to take a step back from basketball. Glenn Robinson says, we need to be more committed. And then McMillan says, the team just felt fatigued. I guess 6-game losing streak's going to do that to you,
Sounds
but
like
the
it'd be
whole
fun to
team
play
is
with them.
saying,
Yeah.
we're really
I'm
up and up.
fatigued as a fan.
It's tough to watch.
Does anyone ask about my fatigue?
Yeah, what about me? God.
But, I mean, a lot of those points are valid, but, of course, if they win that game, even if it's by 1 point, none of those comments are coming out. It'll all just be great win, good to go into the All-Star break.
It would have
with
been
a
great to
W.
go in with a W, yeah. Ugh.
So you got the same kind of theme going here. It's not fun at all, really.
No.
But we've got some fan questions here at Emmert_Joe. Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, most desirable seed, 3, 6, 2, 7.
I wrote down
Oh,
this
you wrote.
because I figured avoid Cleveland until the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the sum. So you want 3, 6, or 2 or 7. And 3 or 2 are kind of out of the Pacers' shots right now.
I mean, I think we played Toronto really well last year. If Solomon Hill's buzzer beater goes in or counted, I mean, we win that series. And we matched up with them pretty well throughout the series. We held Lowry in check. But again, they just signed Serge Ibaka through a trade. So, I mean, I'm not thrilled to play
So that
them.
instance, you want us to stick with the 6 and we'll play the 3.
Yeah.
That'd be
if things
great.
stand, I mean, who knows right now with Kevin Love being injured, where the Pacers will stand, or well, the Cavs will stand, in 2 or 3 weeks here. I mean, there's going to be a lot of
Maybe they'll
movement
drop
here.
and mess it all up. Yeah,
And who knows? The trade deadline is a couple days away still.
Thursday.
And Celtics are obviously a team that's, big into trade talk. So there could be some movement in the standings the next few weeks.
If the positions didn't change, if we were 6, it'd be us against the Wizards.
Oh, I thought the Raptors were 3rd. They're not.
Well, according to the standings on
No,
the
they're
stat line.
4th.
They're already down the 4th.
Yeah, so it'd be the Wizards. If we were 7, we play Boston.
We've had the Wizards number in the past in the playoffs, but that was a totally different team. So I don't
Yeah.
think we really look back at that.
I think we have this might sound stupid to say, I think we have a better chance of beating Boston than we do Washington, just because of their guards, because Isaiah Thomas can't play defense, and I feel like we have a chance against them. But as kind of we went over last week, the number 6 seed, if you can beat the Wizards, is the better seed, because then you still avoid Cleveland until the Eastern Conference Finals. So
it's just weird.
But
only to get
when we
swept
say
by the Cavaliers in
yeah.
the Eastern Conference Finals.
When we say this is not like, oh yeah, we're going to make it the Eastern Conference Finals. What we're going to do is going to get there. But
we're just talking about like best strategy as far as how to get there.
Exactly. So if I was to pick, desirable seed is number 6.
I probably
if I want to go to the Eastern Conference, if I want to win, 7.
I agree, because like we said, 3-2 is gone. 7, you're playing Boston, and I don't want to play Boston.
Yeah.
Chances the Pacers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals anyway, pretty slim.
Pretty
but
slim.
That's what we got. Ugh.
Oh, well. So Pacers, 29-28, 6th in the East. They have the most consecutive losses of any NBA team, East or Western Conference, so great news. But
Great news.
big stories of the week, and big stories, it's been lingering here all season when the Pacers aren't playing well, is Paul George. He's had some inconsistent, December, he's been very consistent, had like almost every game was a 30-point game, played really strong. And then he has these past 6 games of, I think you wrote it down somewhere in here, but 22, 31, 13, 27, 13, 17 points.
It's just so up and down.
So up and down. And then he talks to the media a lot. And, that's fine. As a player, you get to do whatever you want. But he always talks about, guys holding themselves accountable, being tough. And then he lets Otto Porter, appear to be the all-star that night. That's kind of disappointing. Then Doyle comes out with his article, and there's a lot of chat on Pacers Twitter about, is Paul George to blame? And a lot of people are going to extremes, and I don't think that's right. I think, he deserves some of the blame, just like any leader should on a team.
Where's
Right?
David West when we need him?
Exactly.
Paul's
Someone
just a
like
different kind of leader than a David West. David West is, it's on me, I need to set the example. Paul kind of pushes it around, which it's just his personality.
Yeah.
Doyle had a great article where talent-wise, PG is a top 5, top 10 player in the league, but what he actually shows up and shows us each night, top 25 player. He just doesn't consistently deliver what his talent should give us.
I agree.
Because you look at Isaiah Thomas, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, LeBron, they all bring the same amount of effort every single night. You can expect the same thing from them. As a Pacers fan, you're like, look, Paul George went off for 31 last night. Next night, Paul George has 3 points in the first half. Otto Porter's making him look like trash. You know what I mean? He needs to be consistent.
Well, I think the biggest thing here for me is that, and I see this with a lot of the younger superstars, is that they've been trained, because there's so much more attention given to them at a younger age through AAU or even college now, the access to them. They're so trained to give like the professional NBA answer. And when Paul George comes out and says, we just don't have the toughness, we don't have the accountability, those are like buzzwords that you give to the press. But the thing is, just because you use those buzzwords doesn't mean like the problem is solved in any way.
Yeah.
So then they go out the next night, and then that's when, like, myself as a fan, when I hear him say all that stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's gonna come out the next night and want to punch someone in the mouth and like get going. And then it's
Nothing
just
changes,
words.
yeah.
But like in their heads, they gave the answer they're supposed to give. They gave the professional answer anyone else would give. And you hear that all the time now with Jimmy Butler and a bunch of other young superstars. They kind of give the, I don't know, the safe answer, but it's a safe answer if you're going to back it up. Like, I wouldn't mind it. Like, it would be totally different if he didn't say anything at all and just wasn't playing well. But it's another thing when he talks like he's going to make do something, make a change, and he doesn't. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with that. So then tying that together, is his comments or are his comments and causing team chemistry issues at all, or is it something else? I mean, maybe contributing to it a little bit, but I don't know.
My thought is that,
just a weird makeup.
When things are going well for the Pacers, like leading up into London when they played the Nuggets, all of their social media stuff, all of the stuff you got to see from their trip looked like they were having a great time together. And when things are going well, it's easy. But when things aren't going well, it's a lot tougher. And I think, this team has a lot of younger guys. When they look at Paul George, who no matter what, he's their leader because he's their best player. When they see him with a poor attitude in the locker room, it's going to bring everyone else down. You can't tell me that Glenn Robinson or Joe Young or Myles Turner looks at Paul George, like sulking and talking about the new NBA, and they're like, man, well, I'm ready to go for the next one. It's
Yeah.
like
Brings
come
everybody else
on.
down.
I
These
feel
are still
like-
kids.
I feel like if anybody was a step up, it'd be Myles Turner, but I don't think he's. When I say, I mean vocally, because you can kind of see it on the court sometimes. He like gets on himself, but then he'll like point out some guys and yell at some guys. But then I feel like he's like, "Oh, I'm only my second year.
That's what
This
I
ain't
think,
my
too,
team. I need to kind of
Yeah.
hold my place." I feel like if maybe next year or the year after, once he gets really comfortable and he knows it's like maybe his squad or he's 1A next to Paul George, you'll start seeing him doing that. But he's totally holding back right now, and he's really the only one I can see being vocal besides Monte Ellis, which when Monte Ellis says something, he's like, you need to cover your man. It's like, well, dude, you just went for a steal and you missed it,
Yeah.
You're coming off the bench. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's chemistry issues, because they seem to get along fine when everything's going well. But really, I guess chemistry matters the most when, or means, or you can judge chemistry the most or best when things aren't going well.
When they're losing, yeah.
Yeah.
See how they react when they're
what do you
losing.
think, Ross? Chime in.
No, I was leading the discussion. I agree with you guys. Everything you said. I think it's a little bit of roster inconsistency. It's not the roster for how they want to play, how the leadership is leading the team. It's not one person or one thing. It's just a whole mix. I mean, we'll talk about later in our show and later in the next show. We could be so much worse off.
Yeah.
Some of these other franchises are just tanking.
Yeah.
But for how we all thought the Pacers should be this year, where they should be, and they are not delivering, and they're so inconsistent with the up and down. It's just frustrating to see.
Yeah. For those watching on Periscope, let us know what you guys think. Is it a team chemistry issue, or is it, just they hit a rut and they can't get out of it? So for those on Periscope,
It was a
leave
rough
response.
stretch in the schedule. I mean, we expected some tough times here, but
Still,
it's just how down
some of these
they
games
get.
you have to pull off, and
Yeah.
these make the losses versus the Suns and the Nets earlier in the season that much worse.
Yeah.
Because these are games where like, okay, well, I mean, the Wizards are a top 3 team in the East. But,
Well, we said this stretch would tell us who they really are.
Yeah.
It's starting to show.
Dang it.
yeah, not good.
So can we improve? We've heard rumors since yesterday, since the Boogie Cousins deal. I don't know how true these rumors are because I've heard it all day on local radio because my Sirius XM is out right now.
You have to listen to
That the Pacers are interested in Mr. Brook Lopez. Does Brook Lopez make a difference? And is this rumor got any validity?
It was a 2017, this year's our number one pick, which would be like a 20 to late teens pick. Al Jefferson and Stuckey for Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez. So Stuckey is a team option, I'm pretty sure. Jefferson, when he signed a 3 or 4 year deal?
I think it was
3 year deal
yeah.
with a team option or player option on the
330.
third. So my thought here is that Brook Lopez in no way resembles the quote-unquote new NBA that Paul George is constantly referring to.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brooklyn would, first of all, want more because, I mean...
I want more picks.
I think they would want more picks or just a younger asset. I mean,
Yeah.
Jefferson and Stuckey are
30s.
known commodities and injured and not durable in any way for their future unless they're just going to cut them and clear some cap space. But I don't know. I don't like it for the Pacers. Like, it might win them a few more games, but does it help them anyway in the long run?
No.
I don't think so.
Because that means you have to move
You have to use
Turner to the 4.
turn to the 4.
Are you moving Thad back to the 3 and
No, you
Paul
move-
George to 2?
Somebody put
No.
that on there. Go really big with Teague,
Such a
PG,
slow-
Thad, Turner, and
slow
Miles.
lineup though, and poor shooting.
Yeah.
That
and it
is
still doesn't
3.
fix your bench.
No,
No.
Because it makes your bench worse. Because now you're starting a really small bench of.
And Brook would want to
Seraphin
be
and-
a starter. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah,
So no.
it's a good thought.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were like 10 years ago,
Exactly.
You
When
know?
he was the stud.
when he was the stud and the NBA was different, but the NBA is chuck 'em and rebound.
And then speaking of rumors, and you have Mr. Brandon Jennings.
Did you see that comment?
I
go
did
up
see
before
the
he deleted
deleted
it.
tweet. He says next up PG2LA.
Brandon Jennings. said
Brandon
that?
Jennings said that.
What is he doing? I guess they got nothing else
Being
to do.
Brandon
in New York.
Jennings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like,
it's a slow day in New York.
Oh, well.
Let's get the conversation off Mello. So let's throw it to PG to LA.
Yeah, whatever.
So I thought an interesting thought here is with Boogie Cousins, obviously yesterday being traded to New Orleans. It brings up an interesting topic now, and people have been talking about it. Zach Lowe talked about it on his podcast today. But why PG should sign and why his team is going to want him to sign in Indiana, even if he doesn't plan on staying here for long term and wants a trade. It's because in a matter of seconds, Boogie Cousins lost $30 million because with this new designated player extension, he could have got $210 million. Now it's down to $180 million. And that all happens because he gets traded like that. And all the reports say that Boogie Cousins wanted to stay in Sacramento at least for 2 years because in the first year after you sign the deal, you can't get traded. Yeah. So it protects the team. So this just, I mean, I don't want to say Pacers fans could take a sigh of relief here, but I mean, Paul George obviously isn't the head case Boogie Cousins is, so the Pacers don't have as much reason to just throw him out for Buddy Hield. But again, this is just a good example of the CBA working hopefully in a way that in the Pacers' favor. But here it worked against the small town market team of the Sacramento.
Yeah, so but Sacramento's a stupid franchise. It's supposed to help small markets like Sacramento, like Indianapolis, but Sacramento just went and whatever.
But I think this is something that, I mean, $30 million is awfully...
PG will resign in Indiana. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard stuff that the Kings owner was getting fed up with Cousins, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to pay this guy over $200 million to keep him.
Yeah,
is he worth it? He hasn't given us a playoff run or a winning season since he's been here.
7 years
suspended, 6 coaches in 7 years. Yeah, so obviously this helps Pacers fans if Paul George is like, hey, I'm reconsidering, signing with you guys now after I saw what happened there. I'll take that $30 million.
I mean, he didn't want to pay him 35% of the cap, which was that $200+ million.
What do agents make? 3%?
It depends on the agency.
So it's 3%. If it's 3%, his Boogie Cousins' agent just lost $900,000.
It's a lot of money. I mean, I think it's a lot of money.
We'll talk about that trade in more detail next. Yeah,
it's. I mean, for a Pacers fan, you can kind of look at it and say, well, if he turns down that's a lot of money to turn down for.
He would really have to win out of Indiana.
Yeah, he would really have to win out of here. So let's keep him here, Larry. Let's get something.
Do you feel like Indiana's going to regret that we didn't go after Cousins a little bit harder? I mean, they got him, the Pelicans did, for
who are we going to offer?
Next to nothing.
And also the thing is, we'd have to go probably in a luxury tax, or we'd have to cut half our roster.
That's true.
We maybe could afford Jeff Teague for 2 or 3 years. I mean, that's two $30 million, $40 million players right there.
Yeah.
So at max, we'd get him for a year.
Yeah, the only way it would have worked is to lose Turner, I think, and we've talked about this before.
It's a lot of money, and it's not a good deal. Thad would be gone. We'd have to move Thad. I mean, basically, it would be maybe Teague for 3 or 4 years.
Start it over again.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Speaking of Thad Young will be returning soon, hopefully. When Thad Young does return, do we stay big or do we go small?
You mean bring Thad off the bench, or what do you mean?
I think,
or keep Lavoie as the 4 and Thad as the 3,
or just keep Thad off the bench and try and play him.
I'd run him off the bench at first just to see how it works and let him get his legs back under him. Because Glenn didn't play great in the Washington game, but he had 19 in the Cavs game, if I remember right. Glenn Robinson III, Mr. Dunk Champ. Yeah, I'd like to see how that goes.
We're on a 6-game losing streak, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think my thought too was, do you put? One of my bold predictions here we talk about is Paul playing the 4 this season at some point, because I think push comes to shove and you've got to try something different. So maybe Thad coming off the bench in some sort of a hybrid role where he still plays hybrid or starter minutes. I don't know. I think they have to try some sort of scheme change, some sort of rotation change, because this isn't working. I mean, I guess Thad has been out, so and Paul pointed to that in a lot of his All-Star interviews. Yeah. Thad's been out. Because you see that Kevin Garnett, Paul George interview?
Yeah, Paul really looks like he wants to stay.
I mean, yeah. He I think a lot of that, too, is Kevin Garnett's man, you got to stay there, man. Larry's the best, man.
Paul's like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, whatever you say, Kevin Garnett.
He's like, you could be in Sacramento. Think of that.
Yeah.
Let's do a little bit of plugging for Ross, though, and iPacers.
Yeah. Everyone go check out ipacers.com. He started the blog in 2015, he being Derek, and he asked for a new writer here a couple months ago. Zach alerted to me.
And Ross got the job?
I asked if I could maybe write something. He gave me a shot. So I have 2 stories up, one on the dunk contest, a preview where I picked Aaron Gordon to win. Sorry, Glenn Robinson.
Not a true Pacers fan, obviously.
I was glad to be proven wrong, though. And then I had one on the history of the Pacers in the dunk contest. I ranked them 1 through 10. Let me know where I'm wrong.
Very cool articles. Very
kind of fun. Yeah.
Ringer Grantland-ish with the YouTube clips in the
I like
the
to
video.
Yeah. Otherwise you just read it I don't remember that one. Click it. Oh, you can see it. So check out.
I can't think of what to say. Put a clip in.
Yeah, exactly. Make it look longer. Stretch it out.
The second one was a little long, but I liked it, though.
It got a little long when I got into all the detail, but I like digging into the Pacers history stuff. So check that out there maybe once a week, every other week. I have an article, and Derek always has one every 2 to 3 days. It's a pretty good site for Pacers
It is.
blog.
It's fun.
Check it out. He also has some shirts he's been plugging really hard. If you guys are interested in some interesting
cool shirts.
Pacers shirts,
Are
I
you
got
gonna-
one on the way.
Are you going to write any Ron Artest articles?
Oh, man. I have a list of things I want to write. That wasn't on there.
Wait, did you get the Glenn Robinson dunk one?
I did.
That's the one I was looking at.
Yeah.
I saw that on the
With
site
the over the
today.
boomer and the cheerleader. It's
Yeah.
that one's. I
have
told
to
him,
get that one.
I'm like, I like all of them, but if you do a Glenn Dunk shirt, and then he showed me, I'm like, yeah, okay.
I
I'm
have to get that one
buying
too.
that shirt.
I have to get that one too.
So check out ipacers.com.
All right. Then we can kind of skip our next bullet point.
Who
We're
cares
just talking
about
about.
We're not hitting the 3
We're not
seed.
getting the 3 seed, people.
Scott Agnes had Wizards have to go 14 and 13 the rest of the way for us to even consider the
happening.
3, and we have to go 20 and 5.
Oh.
Ain't happening.
So let's
Sorry.
look ahead here for Friday. We've got the Grizzlies coming to town. Indianapolis legend Michael Conley and Marion native Zach Randolph. Indy Memphis. I don't know what to call it, but
Sure.
obviously a very good team who knows who they are. They play to their strengths. They're not going to make a ton of mistakes. Gasol and Conley is awfully tough for Tegan Turner. What do you guys think?
Well, Myles
the
Turner.
long gasp, but is not very confident.
I know.
Coming off a
it's
6-game
like-
losing streak, it's hard to really
Myles Turner always struggles with like really good, strong big men,
post players.
post players,
Yeah.
and you've got an all-star in Marc Gasol. I almost said Powell, and Marc Gasol. I almost did it again. Marc Gasol, and he's just the type that's gonna. He's a beast. He's not like your big men now who are going to be a little bit of finesse, going to pop out for a 3. He's a banger. He's going to get in there and throw you around. And then we have our issues with, T can play defense pretty well occasionally. I've seen him play decent on some guys, but 75% of the time, he's average.
He's not the greatest.
Recap. He can play defense pretty well occasionally. On average, he's okay.
It went from 100%,
Roundabout, he's
50,
terrible.
even not so much.
So, plus we can't guard the pick and roll, so Mike Conley will probably hurt us on that. So,
Mike Conley, who wasn't an all-star, maybe should have been. He's got a little revenge.
Yeah.
side question here,
should've.
because I wasn't paying attention. Was Lillard not
No, not either. Well,
Yeah.
he was.
DeAndre Jordan? What the heck?
Portland's
Exactly.
been terrible this year, so I guess you can't I don't know how many All Stars there were that weren't. I mean, Boogie, Anthony Davis, teams that were in the playoffs. Not that many, really. Giannis. Not that many teams. So I mean, players.
3 or 4.
So, for my selection, because of my reasoning, I will be taking the Memphis Grizzlies.
Rats. I'm taking the Grizzlies as well. I think they're a little revenge from Mike Conley. He's going to come out hot. Rats.
Are you trying to make up standings? Or?
You got some room to come. I mean,
My only argument is that Paul George should eat up Chandler Parsons. So
he will, but is he going to have 31 or 13?
Yeah, which Paul George is showing up.
All right. Ooh, wow, that was like a ESPN breaking news headline. Will Paul George show up? I'm gonna go with. I'll take the Pacers. I'll
right.
say that PG has a good game, and maybe Thad has a good game if he comes back.
This
I'm
is
just
really
hoping for a
depressing.
win. I don't know. I'm just taking now teams to get back in the standings, like I said I wouldn't do. All right, at the Heat, back to back. The Heat have been hot. They're still out of the playoffs, obviously, but it's a long shot still. Waiters Island, as I put on our outline, has a lot more tourists on it right now. A lot of people just making their way to Waiters Island. What do you guys think about the Heat? Jogic's been playing well. Whiteside's been playing well.
I know that their winning streak got stopped. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Yeah. I think the Pacers are going to win this one. I mean, we matched our winning streak with a losing streak, exactly the same, 7-7. I think they'll finally turn around in Miami. Paul George enjoys Miami. I think the Pacers will come out and beat the Heat in this one. Hey.
Nothing.
We haven't won there, and PG hasn't won there in how many years? 3 or 4 years?
Going to change that night.
Yeah, probably not.
I got the Heat.
I got the Heat. I don't know anymore. I'm so confused.
I had the Pacers on an 8-game losing streak.
That's not
Whatever
gonna be
Zach
good.
calls is normally what happens. But
All right, before we get to our corner 3, we'll let you guys know what it is first, so those on Periscope can chime in. But we're going to do our top 3 Pacers predictions for the rest of the regular
Bold
season.
predictions.
Top 3 bold predictions. So
you had to go outside the box a little bit.
if you're on Periscope, type in your top or prediction for the Pacers for the rest of the season, and we will read it out loud and give you a shout out. But Ross, do you want to start us off with your one of yours?
Since you said bold, I tried to go ridiculous.
Oh, God.
But also not totally ridiculous, but ones I can see actually happening. We're having an issue with the second unit.
Yeah.
Joe Young gets a shot as the backup point guard. Need some kind of a shakeup,
I like
right?
that.
I mean, Aaron Brooks is in or out of the lineup. Joe Young just goes up to Fort Wayne to play for the Mad Ants. Give him a shot. I don't know.
Why not?
Oh, I gotta change my mind. Go ahead.
Are you changing mine?
It changes
All right, for my first one, if the Pacers were to make a trade, and actually, I feel like if this bold prediction, if they were able to get somebody, I believe they would have to include, and they will be trading C.J. Miles in that package.
Besides, PG and Myles Turner would be like the only desirable piece from the Pacers. Maybe
Such a good
Teague
piano
too.
player.
I know.
Well, he didn't win that contest.
I'm kidding.
Robbed.
I didn't even watch that. Was that any good?
No, I just read the review afterwards. Who would watch this?
All right. So my first one is PG starts a game at the 4 position.
He said he would not do that. He hates it.
Despite,
the 4.
I'm gonna say that something happens. Larry Bird, I don't know,
Come here, son.
put some
Tough
weird
up, son.
French lick magic
Soft.
in his head and
Soft.
changes it. I don't know. Next, Ross.
Next, I kind of piggybacked off of yours with PG at the 4, Young on the back. McMillan really experiments with his lineups.
Jeff Teague starts at center.
That would be a big experiment. No, I don't know.
Sign like the Zionsville Middle School team to the rest.
Maybe gives up on the small run and gun. We go big all the time, even though that's been not working, or we just go small all the time. He just tries to really, once guys get healthy, he can do so, but really tinkers with the lineup. I don't have any specifics, but needs to do something.
I kind of like tinkering with lineup. My other bold prediction is one of the D League guys will be getting minutes.
We talking Christmas or
no?
No, I was going to say.
Or call up from?
Bentel.
Bentel, Poitras, or Stone. Stone's been playing well too.
None of those guys are on contract with the Pacers, so we'd have to cut someone for that to happen. But
No, we can send someone down and then bring someone else up, right?
yeah, well, Bentel, those guys aren't under.
I know, but
contract.
can't we send Christmas down and just call up?
I don't think
Bentel?
that's how it works. I think Christmas is still on the roster technically by the
So
Pacers.
they'd have to cut Christmas.
So they'd have to cut
Sign
Christmas.
him to the D League. And then,
Sign him to that's exactly.
Gotcha.
Which I wouldn't
Dang it.
mind. I mean, Christmas.
I mean, they have to do something at some point. You've got 2 guys that are playing well in the D League. One was a D League All-Star, which means nothing, by the way. But still, call one of them up and give him a chance, or at least give freaking Raheem Christmas some minutes, because they call him up and he does nothing. I mean,
Poitras was supposed to be in the dunk contest, and then he had a finger issue, and he didn't actually do it. Yeah.
All right, my next one then is Myles averages 18 and 10 the rest of the way. Myles Turner. I think he's going to have a really strong finish. I think he has some time to look back and see that in the games where he is aggressive, they win, and when the games he's not aggressive, they don't win. Even when Paul George doesn't play well.
Yeah, he's setting up next year his 20 and 10 average that he's going to have for the Pacers.
that.
Just saying. But that's not my third. My third is the Pacers finish 6th like they are now and lose in the first round to Washington or whoever the other one would be, Boston.
Yeah, they flip-flop.
I hate being negative like that,
Or if
but
the
the way
Hawks
the
move
team's
up.
playing, I don't see them stringing together 4 solid wins against a team like Washington.
Well, I'm kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum.
Good.
My bold prediction is the Pacers will make the playoffs, but they will be the 8th seed.
Ooh.
I like that.
They only have a 2.5, 3-game lead over the 8th seed right now. Easily fall back.
I mean, if we're going to lose in the first round, I'd like to see them beat up on the Cavs because I love rooting against the Cavs, but I got nothing.
8th seed.
You know what sucks, though, is I'm going to have to root for the Cavs if they play the Warriors in the finals. Absolutely.
I know.
You can't
I
say
know.
the Warriors.
I totally agree with you on that one.
All right. My last bold prediction is that Teague is top 3, maybe even number 1 in assists the rest of the way.
Have you looked up who is top in assists?
I think it's John Wall, but I mean, he's been hovering in the top. He's in the top 10 right now, but I think Teague, he's just found his way. If you take away November and December, he's been outstanding.
He's quiet good. He should have been in the skills contest, which doesn't mean anything, but I mean,
Yeah. If the East didn't have so many strong point guards, I mean, East is loaded with point guards, which used to be the West, number 1 thing. But yeah, that does it for us, Ross. Can you catch us on Facebook?
Doesn't make you not say it that way. He has to come up with it.
Wait. Ross, where can they catch us?
I think Facebook, and I think Twitter, and I think Instagram.
Oh, you're so good.
Got all 3?
For everybody else, besides our YouTube channel, which we would appreciate if you subscribe, tell your friends about it, we also do the podcast. So we are on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud.
Everywhere you get your podcast, you'll find us.
Not just a podcast, though. It's a podcast YouTube channel.
It's a podcast YouTube
It's
channel.
a channel.
We're
Media
multi-dimensional.
conglomerate.
Yeah, we're a medium juggernaut.
Exactly.
Ooh, because medium, different
Yeah, I got
mediums.
you. Okay.
Alright, we're a medium juggernaut.
Keep me with it.
Who knows? That'll be fun.
All right.
All right. So yeah, catch us soon. Watch out for our post-game report clips, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
See ya.
Peace.